Oh, intern.
Oh, Doctor, did you send for me?
Yes, intern. What's all that commotion in Mrs. Blodgett's room?
Well, haven't you heard, Doctor? It's a boy.
Well, what does he want?
But it's her son.
I don't care who it is. I left orders for that woman. I have no visitors. Throw him out.
Well, Doctor, he can't walk.
Well, sober him up and get him out of here.
Whoops, wrong Marx. This week we will be learning about Karl Marx, not Groucho. To understand the philosophy of Karl Marx, you must understand the world in which he lived. The world in which he lived was shaped largely by the Industrial Revolution, 1780 to 1835. It changed everything. It changed the size of cities, the work of people, the health of city dwellers. The population moved from the farms to the city to work in the factories. Between 1801 and 1841, which is a 40-year period, the population of London doubled. In the same period, the population of Leeds tripled, and workers' housing became substandard. The cities expanded rapidly to accommodate the growing factories and to provide housing for workers. The growth created deplorable conditions. Housing was close to factories so people could walk to work, but that meant that they were close to factory pollution. Water was saturated with chemicals, and the atmosphere was heavy with soot and smoke. The land hosted heaping garbage dumps, and workers crowded into tenements. Rats and insects and disease ran free, and privacy was non-existent. There was no inside plumbing, and the poor living conditions created an unhealthy lifestyle, forcing the death rate to soar. For instance, in 1831, in Liverpool, the death rate was 21 to 100, but by 1844, it was 34.8 to 100. Poor factory conditions caused innumerable accidents and illnesses, and there were no labor laws until 1802 anywhere in the world. Workers were mistreated. Working people as a class increased during the industrial era. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, most people farmed or were self-employed merchants or self-employed craftsmen, but they enjoyed a flexible work schedule and had direct control over their work. The Industrial Revolution turned the majority into a working class, where they were dependent on wages and not wares, dependent on the company rather than their abilities. Arthur Young spoke for many corporate minds when he said, and I quote, "Everyone but an idiot knows that the lower class must be kept poor or they will never be industrious." Workers were worked hard, between 12 and 14 hours per day, 6 days per week, and machines forced them to work harder, to work without rest, to work with the repetition of machinery. This repeated task created monotony, which in course led to accidents. Low wages were barely enough to buy food to eat. And once you became sick, injured, or old, you were discarded. Even if it was a result of the company's negligence, there was no workers' comp, no retirement, no disability. Children as young as 5 worked 10 to 14 hours per day. And orphanages farmed their children out to work. Women were paid half the wage of men, and workers were disciplined into working hard, and children were often kicked or struck. Adults were controlled with the real threat of being fired. Lines of unemployed waited to take your job. Layoffs threw workers into the street when the product went unsold. There was no unemployment, no government intervention. In defense of the defenseless rose Karl Marx.